When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
And our topic for today is when you think you manifested the wrong thing. We're going to talk about that. Yeah. What's actually going on?
Yeah. So if you've ever asked yourself the question, like you're doing the work and you're like, how did I attract this? How did I create this? You definitely want to listen in.
But first, what are you excited about, Cass?
I'm excited about moving.
No! Have you told our listeners yet?
I don't think we have. I don't think we have. I talked a little bit about buying a house at one point, or like that I was looking. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks from when we were recording this. Yeah. I'm moving to this beautiful house with a pool, and I'm so excited.
I bet. It's dreamy.
It is dreamy, right?
And we're going to be there in end of September for the event. Can't wait.
Yes. Me either. I know. We're going to have the event at the house because it's got the perfect space for that.
It's so perfect.
I'm so excited about that event, by the way, as well.
We're going to just have so much fun with you guys and who's there. A bunch of people we've got a bunch of confirmations already. So I'm already excited about it.
Me too. And I'm excited because it just fit like perfectly in. It's one of those amazing, like, I have an event on Wednesday and then I also have an event on Thursday for my business people, my business Enchanted Circle people. And then Friday is with you. And then we have a concert. Like, it's just so great.
Yeah. And it all fell into place perfectly. One idea led to one inspiration, led to another, led to like, let's have an event, led to, oh my gosh, that works out perfect, led to, okay, we have the perfect location, led to, okay, bam, done.
Right? Done. And it's going to be so awesome.
Mm-hmm. And it's fun too, because people will reach out and say, hey, are you going to have another event? And I'm like, yes, we are. It's going to be on inspiration, and then exactly it happens like that.
Yes, I know, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that, and I love how we get to be the example of that, and it's when things work best, right? So you can plan, and we could have picked dates, but it wasn't inspired at the beginning of the year at all. Mm-hmm. We were like, nope. Do you feel like we should do that? Nope. And yeah, just letting it go. And here it comes in perfect and so easy and just awesome.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Yeah. What are you excited about other than our event?
I'm excited about you moving too. I'm also excited about tomorrow or on Monday, depending when you're listening to this. For the first time ever, I'm opening doors to my Live Your Truth tribe. Now, As you guys know, I've been talking about this a little bit, but I'm so excited to be doing this. It is a dream come true to be kind of going in this direction. And it's a total evolution of everything that I've been working towards. It's just creating this bigger community space, and for women who want to be a part of something bigger too. Like, there's a bigger vision to this. And this just lights me up. The idea of people coming into their own truth, like finding your own alignment, doing it with other people, and creating a sense like this bigger energy. So you know how you feel when you're in alignment. Imagine doing that with like a group of other people consciously, and the energy that adds to the world, like the upliftment that happens there. And then the other key part of this that I'm so stoked about, and it's going to start small, but is this a portion of everything that's coming in is going to be donated to different organizations, local and around the world, that support empowering mostly empowering youth, but getting this information out there. So there's like so many components to this thing that's happening, this dream unfolding.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about. It's been unfolding for years, and now this is a next step in that. So it's exciting.
Yay, it's so fun.
I know. Yeah. Okay, so where do you want to start with our topic? So when you think, we both have had clients and personal experiences when we've been asking ourselves, okay, well, did I manifest, what was this wrong thing? Was this wrong? Why did I manifest this? That kind of idea.
Right. And it comes a lot when you do the work. So I want to preface first of all by saying we're really speaking, like we did an episode, like, are you doing the long game? Or are you doing the short game? And so really, I think this comes up a lot more in the long game. Well, I don't know if it comes up more, but it's more applicable, right?
Yeah.
And actually I'm going to take that back. It does come up more in the long game because we're going for the life. When you're going for the life and you're going for who you're becoming, like in my work, future self, 5 years from now, things occur. I don't want to get all the way into it yet, but that's really what we're talking. Like, are you going for the life? Are you going for the long game? That's when this stuff comes up. And when you're doing the work and you're focused and you're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm diligent, I'm showing up to calls, or I'm showing up to coaching, and I'm doing all the work, the assignments. I'm just going to speak to Jenny. Is that like what you're supposed to be doing if you're, in a coaching group? You, and then something comes up that doesn't feel good. You don't like it. It's not something you want more of. And you ask yourself, like, what am I doing wrong? How did I manifest this thing? Right. How, like, I'm doing all this. I'm being all this. Like, how did I get this thing that feels yucky? And it doesn't feel like it's in alignment.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of the reason that's underlying that as well is because you're in it and you're doing it, you have this awareness of why you are focusing in certain ways. And so as your awareness develops throughout this, you have these intentions. You are thinking about, I'm focusing in this way to get this thing. And now something that's come into my physical experience doesn't seem to match what it is I've been putting out there. This isn't what I've been focusing on.
Yes.
So why?
And so go ahead.
Well, and then there's the other part of that is it's actually that feeling, the depth of that feeling is a good sign, because it means you're invested in this. Like, you care about what's coming into your life and you're paying attention. And there's lots of times kind of before we kind of awaken to our power to create, that we will unconsciously create lots of things that don't seem to fit into our reality, but we don't actually care that much because we don't understand our power in the whole evolution of it all. So even just taking that perspective of, this doesn't feel good, one good thing about that is that I noticed it and I care about it. So that's a place to start with that.
Yes. Important that you notice, and important, like, when you hear, this is the moment, like, if you've ever heard yourself, like, what did I do wrong? Mm-hmm. That's your awareness that you're in this space.
Yeah.
That we're about to talk about.
Yeah. I've totally done this. And I catch,
me too.
I catch that thought now because, and I will say there's a difference in what that thought means to me now. So at the beginning, what did I do wrong, or why did I manifest this? There was a lot of blame that went with that, or negativity that went with that. Whereas now I can use this thought, or that question comes up and it's more of a reflection. Oh, why did this happen? Versus like, did I do it wrong? Turns into more of like, what's going on? Without any like negative attachment to that or association with that.
Yeah. I love that, because changing the question changes the answers our brain helps us get, right?
Oh my gosh, so I love that. I love that. Do you guys get that? So, because to get the answer you want, you have to ask the right question. So changing the question is going to give you a different answer. Oh, that's so good.
So, exactly. It is mind-blowing. I love your reaction, Jen, because Like when you ask the question, what did I do wrong? Your brain is just going to throw that list right up there. Like you did this, you didn't think about this. You remember that day you missed meditating or scripting or saying your affirmation? Like 30 days ago, that was the day that you messed it up, right? Mm-hmm. And when you ask the question, like, why is this happening? Or for me, the one that I've adopted now is, how is this turning me into my future self? How is this experience growing me into my future self?
Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the core things, like when we were talking about this topic that Cass brought up, is this realization of there's something happening here that's connected to me stepping into my future self.
Yes. For sure. And when you ask that question, like, why is this happening? And not with the backlash of like, because you could still ask why with the underlining, what did I do wrong? But when you're like, you're neutral, why is this happening? Or how is this growing me into my future self? Your brain's going to show you those answers immediately. Oh, because you need to know what this feels like, because you've never done this before, because you're going to help your clients in this way, because you don't know what this feels like yet. And now you do.
Yes. It's adopting this attitude of curiosity in your questioning or in those thoughts. I want to share quickly.
But I want to hold on. I want to like highlight that for our listeners, like curiosity versus blame. If you can just adopt that curiosity, anytime you want to like do a blame or think that you did something, like if you could just be curious, like that will help you make that awareness.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, that's a total different vibration. Blame versus curiosity. You're in a different place, and so you're going to get a different response or answer from there.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, what were you going to say?
I recently was reminded about Michael Beckwith has this process that he talks about when a problem arises. With that problem, there comes a question. And with that question, there comes a solution. And then with that solution, you're inspired to an action. But the key in it is, so if the problem arises and you're only focused on the problem, you never get anywhere. Now, when you let the question arise, okay, what is it that I want to know? And you're asking a question that's empowering, just like Cassie and I were talking about, or empowering or curious, then you leave it open for the solution or that idea to come in. And then it's in that space that you're going to be inspired to the action to take to get the answer to the problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's all everything that flows after is all it's only as good as the question was. Mm-hmm. Right? All the actions, all the inspirations, all the answers are only as good as that question was. It's only as empowering as the information you were seeking.
Yes. I love it. It's a really practical way. And another way to explain it is if we're talking about vibration of focus, the basics of, how we create, when you ask the question of what's wrong or you're in blame, you're focused in this way. And then if you're asking a different question of what could be helpful in this, what is, becoming clearer in this, you're focused on a different way, different vibration. And so this comes back to the same principle. Where you're focused is what you're going to get. That's what you're going to create more of.
Always. LOA 101. Where you are focused is what you're going to get more of. And it even comes when it looks like you're getting what you don't want. Like that's the most important time to remember that is not, it's not, how do I want to say this? Because it's nuanced, right? It's not focusing on that thing that's showing up that you don't want. It's focusing on how you moving through. What's the next step, right? What are you focused on in the next step?
Mm-hmm. Do you have an example, Cass, of how this has come up recently?
So I have it there's some financial things for me where I was like, how did I possibly, it did not go as I wanted.
This did not go as planned.
It did not. And this is coming out a couple years from it. And when I started and I went through the blame, I am who I am. How did I create this? Mm-hmm. And when I got out of that and got to got to a little better, but I kept doing the work, right? I didn't say that means that I'm not, it doesn't mean my system's broken. I know enough of that, right? And then as I've come out of it, I can see, oh, like there's a lot of reasons this happened. This happened because if this didn't happen, I wouldn't know how to become a multimillionaire. Maybe I would definitely could still become a millionaire, but I couldn't become a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Just because of the learning that came out. The things that I need to know for my future self 5 years from now were way different than what I needed 2-3 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's not something you decide or plan, really. You don't say, I need to learn this, so I'm going to go have this experience so that I'm going to learn it. That's like what we're guided into that. Like that's kind of this like divine universal guidance or intelligence or whatever that's guiding all of our unfolding. It's leading you to what is going to be most beneficial for your growth, for your ultimate desires.
And it's you attract it, and you feel like the decision feels right in the moment. If it's a decision or it's the thing, right? It feels right. And the reason is because it is right to get you to your future self.
Yes, that is so huge because, and I want to give some examples of that. I mean, I have most of my learning come in relationships, and
right. We both get the biggest learning in our, you get relationships, I get money.
Yeah. And I can remember having an experience and saying, hey, this relationship felt so right to be in. It felt really right at that time. It certainly doesn't feel right now. Did I not just know myself? So it makes you kind of question your intuition for a second. But when you understand how this all works, it's so important to trust where you're being guided in that moment. So yes, it is important to know what intuition feels like, but you can trust that if you made that decision in that moment, that was what you needed in that moment. And there's a bigger picture unfolding to this all. So it's not that relationship was wrong for in my case, and that relationship was wrong for me. It was a piece of the unfolding. So I can still trust that those decisions that I made at that time, that I was guided to them. And so all of a sudden, you're not like the blame is off you, and there's you're trusting it more.
Yeah, and you're trusting that you're being pulled to that future place.
Yes.
Because we talk all the time about the beingness, and you have to be the person, right? You have to be the person who has what you want. You have to be the person. And there are certain things we can practice and we can be and we can step into, and we can walk into a room more confident, and we can, just do the things that are being that person as much as we can. And there are still things that only come through experience to make us that person. And often those are the things that aren't super fun. A lot of them are. Actually, I'm take that back. That's not true. A lot of them are. Like, there are experiences we have to step into, which is one of the reasons I do like future self cocktails and the photo shoot, is because it forces you to step into those experiences and changes you, gives the opportunity for you to have to be your future self in a different way. And so they're really good. There are a lot of opportunities that do feel really good. We just tend to forget about those. And the ones that don't feel really good that come through experience are just as important, and they're all part of us becoming and being that person who does, owns, is what we want, our future self, or whatever term you use.
I think as well, tell me if you would agree that moving through these things does become easier over the years. Like, even when there is something uncomfortable, it does get easier. You don't push against it as much because you understand the evolution. And so you're not, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I will say, like, it's way easier to move through anything that even looks like it could be, like, I don't put the terms on it, but, like attracted wrong or whatever, not working. It's way easier since I've already been through some things that felt really big, but like, I'm like, oh, but that was creating this part of my future self. That was this thing that I couldn't get any other way. And so, it's easier to just go, okay, like, this is me being my future self. How do I step into this? How do I allow this? How do I learn this lesson quicker? How do I, feel it more, be it more? Is there an action I need to take?
And you're embracing it as it happens.
Yeah.
Because you
It's a lot
understand,
easier.
yeah, that it's connected to the bigger picture.
Right.
I think when we are asking that question, is this or was this wrong? How did I manifest this wrong thing? We're forgetting the bigger. We're not connecting the little dots. We don't just jump from we don't just jump from where we are to 5 years from now. Like, we're here for the evolution of it. And guys, there's going to be experiences. Like, that's the point. There's life experiences that we live, and that's the unfolding, and that's the fun of it, and enjoying them and being present and embracing all of those as they come, like, form you, meld you, mold you, expand you into that version. But it's not just, we don't just jump. We can't, you know?
Right. Because it's all about building that bigger trust. It's all about teaching us the lessons that we have to, again, that we need to learn at certain levels so we can take it and become something bigger at a different level. If you're a coach, it's often lessons you're going to have to teach your clients and hold the space for, and know how to teach in the next evolution of your business, which is also something that came along with mine. It's like, oh, okay, this makes me a better coach, which is going to make me, you know, and so I lost a little bit of money. But when I look at that, I'm like, oh, that doesn't compare to the millions of dollars that lesson is making me in the future.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's such a great way to look at it. I love it. Like, I can
And
feel that. It's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
That you
It is
might
so
be
true.
like, you're always setting the foundation. Everything you're going through is setting the foundation to what you're going to experience physically in the future. But you might not be able to see all the dots yet. But you can trust that unfolding. I know I've said that a million times, but
No, it's all good. We can't say it enough. And I want to say this. Oh man, I lost it. Because I think, it's important, I think, that we say it. We're saying it without saying it. But just because you do the work and you're doing all the work and you're being your future self and you're stepping in and you're committed, right, doesn't mean that, quote unquote, bad or uncomfortable things don't happen. It you know, like we've kind of said that, but I want to make it clear that it's part of the process. It's not, you're not doing the work so that everything's perfect. You're doing the work to become who you want to be and live the life that you want to live. And that isn't, the journey isn't, the journey is a lot easier when you do this work. Jenny and I actually had this conversation before. Like, it's so much easier when you live this way.
I was like, I love living like this. It's so much better.
Right? It is so much better, especially when we're talking about business and all things. But, like, it doesn't mean it's a perfectly smooth ride.
I'm just thinking about that. I feel like it gets smoother and smoother. You know how I have a hard time accepting that, Cass?
Oh, I know. It does get smoother and smoother. And I also have learned, both in myself and my clients, we forget sometimes, like, it's like I've heard, like, having a kid feels like you forget all, like, if there was pain, if there was anything was hard, like, you forget
also, like,
that.
Getting a tattoo.
Yeah, okay, getting a tattoo. Like, you forget all that after, like, a short period afterwards, right? And often with growth, I think that's it. It's so painful in the moment, but what we learn to do, as both you and I teach, like, is when you learn to feel the feelings and you learn to be in the pain and let it flow through you as quick as possible, like, you forget the next time that it's been painful before.
Yeah.
Like,
that's actually a good thing to remember when you're in the middle of it. One day I'll forget this.
Yeah. Oh, you totally will. My clients all the time, like, because I interview them, and so I'll be like, oh, remember, like, this was really not going well, and this was really, like, painful, and they're like, oh yeah, that did happen, huh? Yes.
Yeah, same.
And it was the worst thing that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's so easy. And that's that's by design, right? That's the way we don't want to remember how hard it is.
Right.
In the growth stuff. And so it's easy. It's just designed that way so that we kind of forget. And the next time it comes up, like, often I think people forget. It gets smoother. Like, it gets smoother in a different way. I think you just go through it faster.
Mm-hmm.
For me, anyway.
One of the things that I want to touch on, too, is this. So, because if we're looking back at our past and we're thinking, how did I manifest that? And you're feeling a negative thing and something negative about it, it will serve you to or to shift how you're feeling about that, to give yourself some space around that, and to maybe ask yourself those questions. Oh, did I feel like that was right at the time? And if so, then I'm gonna let go of my judgment around that situation. Because even if we are looking in the past and we're feeling like I did something wrong, or I shouldn't have manifested that, or why did I manifest that, or that wasn't right, if there's any part of you that's like, that wasn't right, you're activating that now in your vibration, you're going to carry that forward, because how you're feeling now is what's creating your future. And your past.
It's recreating that.
Yes. And so if that's active within you, maybe take a step back and be willing to say, okay, maybe I didn't realize that, or I can let that go. Or, I mean, usually it's not quite as simple as that, but retelling it in a new way, or finding some more freedom around that, because it is affecting you now, whether you like it or not. If it's present in your mind, it's affecting you.
Yes, it is.
Why are you giggling at that?
I don't know. Just because, like, it is. Like, if you're having that thought, even though it's in the past, and, like, you're moving forward and you're doing all the other things, like, if that is present even a little bit, it is affecting you, mm-hmm. right? It's preventing how far you can grow. And so it's always good to just look back and be like, oh, okay. And if nothing else that something taught you, it's like, what did it feel like when you were, what popped into my mind when you were saying it is when somebody, like, doesn't listen to their intuition and they know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest lesson. I think that's one of the best things that people go through is when they don't listen to their intuition, so they know what that feels like.
Yes. Because that's okay. That's okay
Yeah.
that you have an experience that you didn't follow your intuition. And that's okay if you have multiple of them. But
yes.
now you know. And there's still no wrong way. Like, the only wrongness is you judging or blaming yourself for that. And that's the only thing. If you let that be okay and you say, I'm learning, like, that's one of my favorite. I'm getting better and better at this. I'm feeling more in touch more and more often. I am honoring my intuition more and more often. That's my path. And that's actually probably true for everybody, because we all mm-hmm. will continue to honor and be in touch with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
okay, how you
become.
Do you want to kind of summarize everything we talked about?
You didn't do anything wrong. You did it all right, and you're just you're just getting the experience you need to become who you want to become.
Yeah, just believe that from us, guys. You did it. Like, if that could just be a truth, that would be amazing. So you didn't do anything wrong. Period. It's a part of the evolution, and there's some part of that experience, of that manifestation, that is helping you become the person that's living the fullest vision for your life. That is what's happening.
Oh, I even just had, like, a really good. Ooh, should I give another really quick example?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So when I was pretty early in real estate, and I had, and some people have heard this, but I had people that I had to evict, and I tried to work with them and do all this stuff. Like, it was not fun to go through that process. It was not fun to drive my whole entire lunch hour, like, really fast to the courthouse and do the things I needed to do, and all the things that come with that process. And that was 100% making me a better investor, because it made me not be afraid of that process. Like I don't back down because I'm afraid of that process, which I think I kind of was that person in the past. And it just made me like so confident, like, okay, I can do it. If somebody wants to, then when someone else wants to like throw something at me, I know all of my rights. I know what the process looks like and I'm not afraid. So when someone threatened me after that process, I was like, okay, we can do it this way. Like, I'm fine with that. And he backed down because I had become the person who didn't take any crap.
Yeah.
You know?
So
go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, but I had to go through that so that I wasn't afraid and I was confident.
So if there's something in your experience that you've asked that question about, how did I manifest this, or why is it wrong? Go back and think about it in the way of how did that experience help align me with this person I'm stepping into?
Yeah. Golden.
All right, everyone. We will catch you next week.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.